It was mid-October, 1985, and few running backs in the NFL possess the raw combination of speed and size as the one featured in a Week 6 sizzler between the L.A. Rams and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The halfback was 6'3", about 220 pounds, a little bit more perhaps, and coming off a watershed 84 season, setting a team high for rushing yards and a league record for carries in a single season. Sounds like the bio of Eric Dickerson. No, it isn't. It was Tampa Bay's James Wilder. The undefeated Rams keyed on Wilder's whereabouts that Sunday afternoon, allowing the winless Bucs to reach for the skies at Tampa Stadium.
There's a 0 in both their records, and each one tells the story of a season so far. Two clubs with perfect ledgers will square off in the sultry Florida heat today. The home team Buccaneers have no wins in 5 tries, while the Eric Dickerson-led Rams are front-page news at 5-0, tied for best in the NFL. Coming out of the shadows of anonymity to lead the Rams on offense has been quarterback Dieter Brock, a Canadian League refugee who is still learning his way around his new surroundings. Fortunately, he has a patient boss in Ram coach John Robinson, a fella that everybody seems to go for. Of course, all the world loves a winner, and Robinson has parlayed strong defense and a sound running game to keep everyone happy in Tinseltown. But all is not well in Tampa Bay, where head coach Lehman Bennett is still looking for his first win as the Buccaneers coach. The once proud Tampa defense is going through a rebuilding period, and the offense is now in the hands of veteran quarterback Steve DeBerg, who is keeping the chair warm until touted wonderkind Steve Young is ready to play. On paper, it looks like a classic mismatch, the 5-0 Rams and the 0-5 Bucs. But under the sunny skies of tropical Tampa, the searing heat can sometimes make you see unusual things. It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Los Angeles Rams in the NFL Game of the Week. At the top of their list of things to do, the Rams defense most assuredly underlined this goal: stop the Bucs all-purpose back James Wilder wherever he roamed. For one of the few times this year, Wilder was less than wonderful, as L.A. stopped him early and often. But the Buccaneer defenders quickly showed they could cause a stir themselves as they forced the first key turnover of the game. Ex-Ram Ivory Sully, number 44, made the hit that jarred the ball loose, and the Bucs were in business. Then quarterback Steve DeBerg used a play-action rollout to stun the run-conscious Rams, giving him plenty of time for a completion to tight end Jimmy Giles. Near the Rams' goal line, DeBerg then nearly cashed in on a toss to wide receiver Kevin House, number 89. The grab was great, but House was out of bounds, so the Bucs appeared ready to settle for a field goal. But holder Alan Risher, number 7, had other ideas. Risher's run gave the Bucs a first down at the 1-yard line, where James Wilder promptly vaulted his way in for the game's first score. Despite the fumble, the officials ruled the ball had crossed the plane of the goal line, making it 7-0 Tampa Bay. The Rams, especially number 21 Nolan Cromwell, were not too pleased with the call. And Cromwell would have a chance to avenge this play later on. In the meantime, the Buccaneer pass rush went back to work, pressuring Dieter Brock at every opportunity. What the Rams do best, though, is run. And when they went back to that scheme, they finally found a way to move the ball. straight runs by Eric Dickerson moved the Rams into Tampa territory. And as the second period began, L.A. tied it up when Brock fired his 5th touchdown pass of the season. A wide-open Bobby Duckworth, number 82, hauled it in to even the score at 7. It was his 3rd touchdown of the year on just 12 receptions. The ex-San Diego Charger has a lifetime yards per catch average of nearly 26 yards. Deep threat potential that has served the Rams well so far. And it was his grab that temporarily took some steam out of a Buccaneer club that had up till now controlled the game. With this score, the Rams now seemed ready to take charge. The Florida faithful were toasting in the hot sun, working on their tans, while the mercury climbed to a scorching 120 degrees on the field. But now the game was beginning to heat up as well, as the Rams, still a little hot under the collar over the disputed Bucs touchdown, were about to light a fire of their own. Safety Nolan Cromwell picked off the first of several pass interceptions against Steve DeBerg. The initial miscue in a series of costly errors that would ultimately send the Bucs packing. While DeBerg was stewing over his mistake, Dieter Brock, behind good protection, was whipping up a short pass souffle that gained some tough but substantial yardage. Then wide receiver Henry Ellard, number 80, utilized his running abilities on a Ram reverse that placed L.A. near the Buccaneer end zone. From the 6, following the lead of guard Kent Hill, number 72, Eric Dickerson got the call for his 5th touchdown of the season. But what Eric giveth, Eric also taketh away. After a Buck field goal narrowed the Rams' lead to 14-10, LA's star attraction coughed up the ball on his next carry, and the Bucs pounced on the opportunity. It didn't take long for DeBerg to regain the lead for his club. He spotted Kevin House on a slant pattern over the middle. And this time, Kevin had his feet well within bounds for the touchdown. House has become Tampa's money receiver over the past few seasons, and he proved it again on this play. Even though Rams All-Pro Gary Green was covering him tightly, House was able to snare the ball and make it in for the go-ahead score. Bucs were now on top in a game few had given them a chance to win. The Sun was not playing tricks. The 0-5 team was ahead of the 5-0 bunch. The Rams decided this had gone on long enough and turned to their number 2 ranked rushing defense to put things right. Once more, they zeroed in on Wilder and kept him from doing any damage. Tampa returned to the air, the Rams appeared to have their second interception of the half. Once more, the thief was Nolan Cromwell with a little help from number 47, Leroy Irvin, a supporting player now who would achieve leading man status later on. Unfortunately for the Rams, an offside penalty wiped out the interception. The Bucs retained possession, and with just 4 seconds to play in the half, kicker Donald Igwebicki drilled his second field goal of the game to make it 20-14 Bucs. The fans could hardly believe their eyes. Their winless team was competing and beating one of the only undefeated clubs in the league. Maybe the Florida Heat was beginning to get to the Rams after all. The man you focus all defensive attention on is Eric Dickerson. Number 29 was at the center of the Bucs' swirling defensive hurricane as Tampa Bay shut down Dickerson, holding him to 75 yards on 25 carries. The Bucs were also ready for Dickerson as a receiver. Wherever he went, they laid the leather on him. For most of the third quarter, the Tampa Bay defense, statistically near the bottom of the league rankings, played hard-nosed and aggressive football. They bottled up the Rams' running game, and they pressured quarterback Dieter Brock with a revitalized pass rush that had been dormant through the season's first 5 games. The Bucs would sack Brock 7 times before the game was over, nearly doubling their 1985 total of 10. The Rams' offensive line, considered by many to be one of the best in the NFL, often seemed to be overmatched by the Bucs' young pass rushers. Warriors like Ron Holmes, Carl Morgan, and Don Fielder, number 65. The third quarter featured defense, and then some more defense. The Rams could also play that game, and their undefeated record was due largely to the powerful work of one of the conference's top units. 4 outstanding linebackers and an excellent secondary highlight Los Angeles' defense. So it was no surprise that the Bucs' James Wilder found little room to maneuver. Rams limited Wilder to 49 yards rushing and pressured Tampa quarterback Steve DeBerg all game, even though they registered only 1 sack, this one by blitzing linebacker Mel Owens, number 58. There would be no offensive touchdowns scored in the third period, and only 1 scoring drive of any kind. With Dickerson being controlled by the Bucs, Brock went to the passing game, and it did produce the big play in a modest 6-play drive. This Brock to Bobby Duckworth completion was good for 26 yards, and it put the Rams in position for a field goal by kicker Mike Lansford. Lansford's 27-yard kick cut Tampa's lead in half, and the Rams now trailed 20-17. There were over 4 minutes left in the third quarter when Steve DeBerg marched the Bucs offense up to the line of scrimmage. His team led by a field goal. His defense was doing an outstanding job containing the game's most explosive back. Things seemed to be going pretty well. The Bucs had a legitimate shot to win their first game of the season. And then DeBerg simply made a bad throw. linebacker, number 55, raced 33 yards with the interception, and Tampa's lead was gone. The Rams were back in front, 24-20, in this seesaw struggle of teams moving in opposite directions. The Rams' opportunistic defense had struck. Before this game would end, it would rear its head again, and Bucs head coach Lehman Bennett, suffering through an 0-5 start, would come away not with his first win, but with another heartbreaking defeat. The outcome of this game would be decided by turnovers, and it was the Rams' defense that had the final word in that area. But as the fourth quarter got underway, the defense rested for Los Angeles, and the Bucs charged back with their only scoring drive of the second half. The catalyst for Tampa was the passing of Steve DeBerg. DeBerg completed all 4 passes he attempted, with this one to number 83 Theo Bell, taking Tampa into Rams territory. A few plays later, DeBerg finished the drive with a perfect toss to wide receiver Gerald Carter, number 87, for the touchdown. With just over 13 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter, the Bucs had regained the upper hand. DeBerg had bounced back from the interception, and he led Tampa on a well-conceived, neatly executed touchdown drive. The 13-yard scoring strike to Carter was an example of all elements working together to produce the desired result. DeBerg, behind excellent protection, lofts the ball beautifully to Carter, who had beaten his man in the corner of the end zone. The Bucs, searching for win number 1 of the 1985 season, had found something they hoped to hold on to: the lead in the fourth quarter. This was the first time this season that Tampa had the lead in the final period. This new experience was something the Bucs obviously enjoyed. All they had to do was maintain their advantage for 13 minutes, and victory would be theirs. However, that was easier said than done. And the man who shattered Tampa's dream was Rams cornerback Leroy Irvin. Irvin is the man most teams throw at because the Rams' other corner is Gary Green, an all-pro caliber performer. On this day at Tampa Stadium, Irvin was up to the task at hand. Midway through the final period, DeBerg challenged number 47, and he and the Bucs paid dearly for it. Irvin's 34-yard interception return for a touchdown turned the tide once more in this topsy-turvy contest. Suddenly, the Rams were ahead 31-27. On the first play of Tampa's next possession, DeBerg went right back at Irvin. The Bucs quarterback must have felt that the interception was a fluke. He was wrong. Irvin did it again. This time he didn't take it all the way to the end zone, but what he did do was effectively and decisively wrap up another Rams victory. Number 47 was the man of the hour for Los Angeles. On this hot and humid day in southern Florida, Irvin had chilled any and all Bucs comeback attempts with a brilliant individual performance in the space of 30 seconds. Irvin's effort produced the Rams' 6th straight victory of the 1985 season, and they remain, along with the Chicago Bears, one of only 2 undefeated teams in the NFL. On a day when Eric Dickerson was not a major factor, the Rams still found a way to win. A tribute to the overall team concept instilled by their upbeat head coach, John Robinson. Robinson's Rams have surprised the entire NFL. After 6 weeks, they lead the NFC West, the division with the world champion San Francisco 49ers, by 3 games. The Rams have become an opportunistic team, winning in different ways each week. The constant has been a defense that has emerged as one of the best in all of football, allowing the fewest points in the NFC. The final from Tampa, the undefeated Rams 31, the winless Bucs 27.
The pro fates of James Wilder and Eric Dickerson went in opposite directions after this memorable matchup. On a Bucs team that finished 2-14, Wilder ran for 1,300 yards, 66 more than Dickerson, who, to be fair, played in 2 fewer games. But while Wilder never had another 1,000-yard season, Eric Dickerson retired in 1993 with 13,259 rushing yards, at the time second only to Walter Payton on the all-time list. The Hall of Famer was arguably at his best during the Rams' postseason run later in that '85 season, slamming and slashing his way to 248 yards in a divisional playoff win over the Dallas Cowboys, which, by the way, is still an NFL record.